5 Mysterious Discoveries from World War II. Incendiary device in London. In southeast London were told to evacuate their homes after construction workers uncovered an incendiary device from World War II. It was positively huge, weighing over 1,000 pounds. This was the kind of device that would be dropped on London to tear down an entire building and leave a crater in the street. The thing was about 5 feet tall, complete with a tail fin, and was so potentially lethal it could have blown apart all the houses within 600 feet of the site. Thankfully that didn't happen. The Royal Logistic Corps Incendiary Device Disposal Team, after everyone had been cleared from the area, erased their own lives to defuse the leftover piece of conflict ordnance. It ended up being a big success. The explosive was safely defused and nobody blew up, and everyone was allowed to return back home. In case you didn't know, this is actually a huge problem in England. During World War II, Germany tried to blow up the English into submission by dropping thousands upon thousands of tons of explosives on the capital. Some of those explosives didn't blow up. They had to attend to 7 unexploded incendiary devices that had been accidentally discovered, along with 5 unexploded hand grenades. The sunken German treasure ship. Divers recently uncovered the wreckage of a battleship from World War II, and they believe the wreckage of this German vessel could help them solve the mystery of the legendary Amber Room. The Amber Room was part of the Great Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg. It was the pride of Russia, a room decorated with pounds of amber and gold. It was extremely valuable, but when Germans invaded Russia, it was dismantled piece by piece and eventually, it disappeared. The last time the contents of the room were seen, they were in Königsberg, a port city controlled by the Germans. Nobody knows exactly where the room went. After that, some believe it went on a train and ended up being deposited in some secret mountain base, where it's still hiding to this very day. However, before it could even leave the coast of Poland, it was sunk by Soviet warplanes. Finally, divers have discovered the whereabouts of the Karlsruhe, sitting at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. It's almost perfectly intact, but it's not too easy to investigate. Italian submarine wreckage. Italian submarine wreckage in the Aegean Sea off the coast of Greece. Local divers came across the wreckage of an Italian submarine that sank 80 years ago. It was hit by Allied forces during World War II on 5 July 1941. It was called the Gentina, and it had sailed from the small Greek island of Leros, when it was found itself under siege by the British submarine HMS Torbay. The Torbay fired torpedoes. The Italian submarine was blown to bits and 48 sailors went down with it. It wasn't even an archaeologist who found this fascinating wreckage, but one of the most popular divers and grace, a guy named Costa. He considers himself a maritime expert and something of an amateur archaeologist. Royal Air Force bomber wreckage. Jim Miles is a former Army pilot who has a fascination with sunken planes and shipwrecks. He was the one to discover a World War II bomber submerged in the dark waters off the coast of Kimberley, Australia, a place where the riptides are strong enough to pull a person to their demise. Just recently, Jim returned to the site with better technology to actually document the wreckage for the world to see. The B-24 bomber was still sitting in the murky depths with its tires intact, looking like it had just made an emergency landing. This airplane went down on 23 March 1945. 12 airmen were on board. The bomber, when it crashed near the Truscott airfield during the conflict, was a top-secret base for the Royal Australian Air Force. German battle machine. A recent drought has caused a last German military vehicle to surface from the River Po in northern Italy. It's believed the vehicle was pushed into the river as the German troops were retreating in April of 1945. This was a common practice of the Germans to prevent their equipment from falling into the hands of enemy soldiers. Historical records show that a British reconnaissance plane spotted the vehicle, but when soldiers tried to find it, the thing was gone now. It's finally been discovered by Samuel Libernini, a volunteer at the Second World War Museum in Sarmades. He spotted it sticking out of the sand at the bottom of the dried-up riverbed. It's a military truck on tracks that weighs roughly 7 tons. It was used widely in World War II, mostly for transporting guns like the Flak 42 anti-aircraft gun and the 10.5 cm light field howitzer. It also had enough space to carry 8 soldiers, had enough power to plow through almost 2 feet of water,